Hello everyone, this is Betsy with PC Mac. Thank you so much for joining in to learn something new. You know, I say that each time, and I've been thinking about it. I like to see if I can teach you something you don't already know. And if you have a question, I'm always intrigued to know if I know it. So please leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of these upcoming topics. Today I want to talk about files and folders and how to organize your stuff on your computer, the stuff that you create. Very often I hear from people, Betsy, I know I saved it, I just don't know where it went. Or I brought it up in my email and I clicked download, or I just opened it and I have no idea now how to find it. So I want to start by demonstrating it on a Windows PC. And in particular, if you look down in your taskbar at the bottom of your screen, you'll see this yellow folder icon. That's how I describe it to people. You can see it's called File Explorer. It's a program that comes with Windows. When you click down there, you get the File Explorer screen, and it opens you to what's called Quick Access. And Quick Access, you can see it highlighted over here on the left-hand sidebar. Quick Access gives you a synopsis, a breakdown of the stuff that you've been using recently. Frequent folders, recent files, and sometimes the item you're looking for is not there. Maybe it's not a recent file. So I want you to direct your eyes to the left-hand sidebar, and in particular, single click on downloads. Now, I do say single click. Many of the people who I teach and meet with in private lessons will ask me, is it a left click? Is it a left click? Is it a right click? Is it a single click? Is it a double click? And for tonight's lesson, it's a single click on this left-hand sidebar. If, however, you are if, however, you want to open something that is displayed on the right-hand side of the screen, with this being the left sidebar and everything else to the right of it being the right side of the screen, well, all of these items you would have to double click if you wanted to open them. We're not going to be opening many things during this lesson. We're really going to be moving them around and making a folder for items that need to be grouped together. If you group them, pretty much like a file cabinet, if you put them in a folder, it might be easier to find them. But let's start off first with, how do you find it? If you've opened up an attachment from your email, and I'm thinking particularly if you have AOL. AOL tends to, and I mean if you're reading your email in a browser. So if you go to AOL.com and you open up your email and you read it from there, same with Outlook.com and Gmail.com. I mean, I could also say Yahoo.com would act the same way. So any of those browser-based email inboxes, if you have a local service provider, it could be Verizon. Well, Verizon's no longer in the email business. We have Cablevision out here on the East Coast. If you are viewing your emails in an inbox in a browser window, then most likely when you open an attachment, it appears in your downloads folder. So that's number one. The second tip or item that you need to be pretty skilled at is changing the view. And if you look up here at the very top of your screen, there are tabs across the top. There's the File tab. It actually brings up a menu. There's the Home tab, and that shows us the ribbon that we're looking at. There's the Share tab. That brings up a different set of features. And then there's the View tab. I want you to focus on the View tab. And I think this will help you quite a bit, especially this area in here, which are the different layouts. Now look, I'm not even clicking. If I just hover my pointer over the item, it changes the view. So if I wanted to see all of this content in what's called Details view, I could hover over it, but if I want it to stay, I'm going to single click on it up here. That's going to give me these columns. Very nice, because you've got the name column. That gives you the name of the file. You've got the date modified column. You've got the type column. And then you have the size column. And I'm going to show you how you can use these to your benefit, especially if you're trying to clean up a computer that's gotten very cluttered, or if you're trying to find something that, let's say, you were just working on the day before or the week before. Before we move on to that, though, there are views that are called icons. Extra large icons, medium icons. And you can see as I hover over them, we actually now see our files as icons, not as written out names like this in details. And why is that helpful? Well, if you're looking at a folder filled with photos, you can just keep it on extra large icons and then scroll through the photos. See, I have a mixture. I've got PDF, I've got Word documents, I've got Excel documents, but when I come across a picture, I can see the picture right there, a thumbnail of it. I don't have to open the picture to see what it is. So use that to your benefit, the icons view. But I want you to make your way back to details. And I say this in all of my videos, that if you want to follow along, certainly do. You could click pause at this time and go open the File Explorer application and try out what you're learning. It's the best way. Follow along and try it out. And then leave me a comment. Tell me how it went. So in Details view, what I like about it is if you're looking for something and you know the name, it's best to sort this list in alphabetical order. And you're going to do that by single clicking on the word name, which is the column header. So you can see here I'm demonstrating. If I click on name, there is this tiny little arrow right in the center, and that's pointing up. That's indicating that we are in ascending order right now. Now you'll look at this and you'll say, Betsy, that's not ascending order. It goes H, O, P, T, and then a 5. And then there's A's again. How is that ascending order? Well, what Windows does is it displays the contents with folders in one section and then files in another. So yes, to a computer, a file is the actual stuff. It's like the piece of paper or the photo or the spreadsheet or the document. That's what a file is. It is not a file like you're accustomed to in a doctor's office, them taking your file off of the shelf. Not to a computer. A file is the stuff that you create, and a folder is the container that can hold lots of files. So as you look here and you alphabetize by name, that little arrow is pointing up. If it's ascending order. If you click name again, well, now we're in descending order. Now it doesn't look that way. I'm just going to scroll for you. And you can see Z would be first, and then it would go all the way down to A. So if you know the name of your file, go ahead and alphabetize your list, and it's going to make it very easy to locate it. But that's usually not the case, I have to say. Don't you agree? When you download an attachment, you haven't always noticed what the name was, especially the person who sent it to you was the one who created it usually. Or you may have downloaded it from a website, for something that you're needing to sign up for. Facebook, for instance, you can download pictures, and it gives it a really long file name that that you would not even know the name to look it up. So you might want to opt for sorting this list by date. So you're going to click on the header date modified, and there's the little arrow again. So now we're in descending order with the most recent at the top. That's not my most recent, and I am on a computer I use for training. So there's a wide range of files on this computer. This is not my everyday computer. I take it out when I'm teaching, so I tend to keep a lot of things on it for examples. So for that reason, it's very important to me. I can say, where is that file that I used last year? And I can look at this list by date. Now moving on, there's two more columns. There's type. If you sort by type, that's going to put all your PDFs together, all of your applications together, all of your JPEGs, those are your photos, and so on. And as you scroll down, then you'll have all of your Excel worksheets together and your documents and PowerPoints together. If I just did this without talking about it, if your columns are not wide enough for you to see the type, if it's cutting it off like that, just hover your pointer in between the column names. You'll see this double-headed arrow pointer. Click and hold and drag to the right, and you're able to widen the column if you need to see the entire name, the entire type. And then finally, the size column. Size, you can sort these files by size. Now, when do I recommend this? If you sort your list, especially your downloads folder, if you sort this list by size, but in descending order. So once again, the way these column headers work, if you click them once, the arrow is pointing one way. If it's pointing up, it's in ascending order. In this case, sizes are numerical, the smallest at the top. If you click size again, the arrow flips, this arrow, the one at the top. Now the biggest size, I'm going to scroll up for you, the biggest size file is at the top. So like in this example, I recently set up a scanner to do some training, teach people how to scan receipts and stay organized, scan business cards, flyers, all the paper that you want to get off your desktop, your actual desk. And so I have that application here. I downloaded it. I'm not ready to get rid of it yet. I might teach that all throughout 2019, so I'm just keeping it there. If you sort your list, especially in downloads, and you notice you have some applications, don't double click them without knowing what they are. You most likely have already installed them, or if you accidentally downloaded something that might be malicious in nature, you don't want to accidentally install it. So you don't want to double click applications without knowing what they are, because double clicking will open the file. And in this next section of this lesson, I want to show you how to create a folder. And that's going to help you organize your files. If you are in business for yourself, let's say, and you meet with a number of clients throughout the week, and maybe those repeat throughout the month, and you generate documents for them. It might be PDFs, it might be invoices that you're generating, and you want to keep a copy. It's good to have a folder for that client. And this is how you would do that. You first want to start in the area of your computer where you want the new folder to appear. Now I'm going to demonstrate it in the downloads folder. You might want to be doing this in your documents folder, and that's perfectly up to you. I just want to make it, I have organized this list for the lesson just to make it look clean. So don't think that folders have to be in downloads. They can be actually in any one of these. You know, some people put their folders on the desktop. I have some there. You don't want to overload your desktop. That's that opening screen. This, if I minimize File Explorer. This is the desktop. Don't overload this with files. You might find that your computer starts to slow down on you. So we're going to do it in downloads. The point though is that you must start where you want the folder to appear. Very important. The second step is to make sure you're on the home ribbon. So that would be clicking the home tab, and then find the new folder button right there in the middle. Now watch what happens. You click new folder and the folder appears at the very bottom. Now, sometimes this gets away from you, especially if you have tapping. Here, I'm going to demonstrate. If you have tapping set up like on a trackpad on a laptop, sometimes people find that the folder's name ends up being new folder. So if that happens to you, I want you to double click it or select it so that it's blue. When the text is blue like that, you can just put your hands on the keyboard and start typing. And I have a client and her name is Barbara Wise. So I'm going to make a folder with her name. I could have written it all out. It could be full name, completely up to you. Just don't use any special symbols in your folder name. And when you're done typing, press enter or return on your keyboard. And then you see how it's a solid color now, and that finishes it off. Now look at it, it's out of order. You know, it put it at the bottom. That's what Windows did. So we're just going to resort like we did before, just using our name header. And then there it is. Because the folder starts with letter B, it ends up being the first of the 5 folders that I have. Now here's a tip. If you look over here on the left-hand side, we have some items that have a little pin next to them, like a little thumbtack. What I'm going to do is I want to put my new folder and I want to pin it to what's called Quick Access. That way, Barbara Wise's folder will be showing over here on the left-hand side, and I'll be able to get to it easily. You'll see in a moment, I'll be able to copy things or move things into it easily. These other ones that you do see in the left sidebar, those are dynamic. That's Windows giving me folders that I use frequently. So I can't always rely that those will be there. If I want to pin my new folder, this is where you're going to right click with your mouse. You get a pop-up menu, and then you're going to use the option up here, Pin to Quick Access. You go ahead and click that, and there it appears. It's not a duplicate, it's just simply pinned. It's a pointer to your folder. Now watch what happens. We're all set up. We're going to scroll this right side of the screen until I get down to my invoices. And here are her 2 invoices. I'm going to put my pointer. I'm not going to double click because that would open it. I'm just going to single click so it's highlighted in blue like that. Click and hold, and then drag from the right to the left. And when I hover over that folder, you can see the white pointer. If I go a little too low, then I get that black bar, and my pop-up there says, no, you're going to pin it to Quick Access. It has to be like that. Move to Be Wise. Be Wise. Isn't that cute? Didn't even plan that. And then I'm going to drag the other one. When you drag files from the right-hand side to the left, as long as you're staying within your computer's hard drive, the file is moved. If you were moving this to an external drive, which I will do in a future video, then it would be copying it. But because I'm going from the right side, which is the downloads folder, to the left side, Barbara Wise's folder, which is also on the hard drive, then it's moving it. And then you would repeat the process. And when you're done, your folders will be displayed at the top. So that concludes today's lesson. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And I hope you are happy clicking with technology. See you next time.